thực hiện cái việc kết nối giữa các site với nhau cách nhanh chóng và vẫn đảm bảo được cái phần mà hạ tầng bảo mật trong một cái giao diện quản lý tập trung duy nhất. Thì giải pháp Cato là một cái giải pháp như vậy, và Cato sẽ được phát triển trên cái nền tảng cloud cũng như xây dựng một cái backbone để mà kết nối giữa tất cả các nước lại với nhau. Thì làm cách nào để Cato có thể làm được chuyện đó? Và ở Việt Nam thì Cato có thể hỗ trợ cho các bạn như thế nào? Thì trong cái buổi hội thảo hôm nay, phía Westcon cũng như phía Cato Network sẽ xin phép chia sẻ với tất cả các bạn về những cái việc mà Vinh vừa nêu ra. Thì trước khi mà chuyển sang cho phần bên các anh bên Cato trình bày giải pháp, thì lời cuối cùng thì một lần nữa Vinh cảm ơn mọi người đã tham dự buổi hội thảo hôm nay, và Vinh xin phép gửi đến mọi người những cái lời chúc sức khỏe tốt đẹp nhất.
Dạ, xin cảm ơn những chia sẻ vừa rồi của anh Tiến Vinh. Và sau đây chúng tôi xin giới thiệu anh Dave Hen, General Account Manager APJ đến từ Cato Network, sẽ có một phần trình bày về những giải pháp và cũng như giới thiệu chung về Cato Network. Hi Dave.
Hello Mandy, good morning. Hi.
Good morning.
Okay, so I can start to. Yeah, sorry.
You can introduce something about yourself and also.
Okay, sure. Hi. Okay, thank you, Mandy. Yes, a very good morning to everybody. Yes, my name is Dave. I'm actually the channel manager for Cato Networks for APJ, and I want to thank you, Westcon Vietnam, for organizing the event for today. And I think with me today will be me and Mr. Collins here, who is actually my pre-sales for today. So for today, I'm going to give you all a presentation on our solutions, right? And after my presentation, for Collins here, he will then come in and then he'll give you guys to run through a demo, right, of a solution and on our CC2 console itself. Okay, yeah. So, okay. So Mandy, so can I start the presentation now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Mandy. So I'm going to start the presentation now, right? So for those of you who have questions, you all can always leave it down on the chat there, so that both me and Colin along the way, right? Right. When we see the question, we can actually help. We can actually help to answer you along the way. All right. So before I start to say to you about the story about us, right? So these are some of the things that we commonly hear from customers of today, right? And part of the common things I always heard of, right, is firstly MPLS alternative, right? Just imagine if you talk about 10, 20 years ago, right? Most offices, right? You have a HQ office and you have a DC nearby, right? And the connection, right? The stable connection will always be going back into MPLS, right? And then deploy that. But today, as a lot of application, right? And a lot of software started to go on cloud, right? And cloud DC, right? That changes the landscape. And for that, the purpose of MPS is still there, but it doesn't use that much compared to last time, right? And so that was why a lot of customers today are looking for alternative for them to move out in that landscape, all right? The next one, security as a service, right? Remember the old days, when you need to buy a firewall, right? You will look for the few appliances, right? Based on your budget, right? And based on requirement, and then you as a partner, right? Or customers will then buy accordingly, right? To what they need. But today, that changed the landscape as well, right? Because while going to traditional appliances is one way of doing so, but today, there's also the option, right? Of buying through security as a service model, right? That means to say, you don't have to own the box, right? And you don't have to pay upfront, right? For the appliances, right? But it comes as a service that you're paying, you pay as you use, right? So that basically is a new way forward for today, right? The next thing, global performance, right? As your business start to expand, right? Your offices will start to grow into multiple countries, into the region, right? Of course, as the business start to grow bigger, you start to expand. And of course, as that expansion start to come, people will start to look into backbone performance, right? So connecting between your offices, right? You need to ensure, right, that the connections are stable, right? And of course, the VIP, the performance are there and all these kind of things, right? And for that, we are able to address that as part of your concern. Okay. The next one, remote access and work from home, right? Since last year, March, when globally, right, the COVID situation got worse, there was a lockdown internationally, right? And a lot of people traditionally that go back to office and work suddenly have to work from home, right? And in a nutshell, it changed the way that we work, and it changed the way, right, that a business operates. Right? And with that in place, right, suddenly a user work from home. How are you going to ensure security, performance, right? And of course the ease, right? Right. And if your user needs help in that sense, how are you going to access or to help that person when the person is so far away and he's not in the office, right? So we have the solution for that as well. The next thing, cloud migration, right? Talk about 10 customers today. Everybody, right, is more or less in the hybrid cloud way of doing things, right? You got some things on cloud, you got software on cloud, but you also have your own desktop and server as well, right? But your information on cloud, how are you going to optimize it, right? How are you going to take care of in terms of security when it's so far away and it's out of your reach as well, right? So these are the concerns that a lot of customers have today, right? And of course, the next thing, simple management, right? You have your appliance, you have your SaaS, right? Your security as a service, your software as a cloud, right? Right? And of course, the global performance that you have around the world. In a simple thing, how are you going to manage all this within a single pane of glass, right? And today, I'm going to introduce you a solution that can help you to address that, right? Now, just to tell you some of the history about Cato Networks, right? The company is founded by Mr. Shlomo Kramer, who is the CEO of the company. I just want to highlight that Shlomo Kramer is also the founder, the man behind these two famous companies called Checkpoint and Imperva, right? For those of you who are in the security market, there's every reason that you know him, right? Because everybody sells Checkpoint and Imperva, right? And we're co-founder, right? Mr. Gershoff, who is also our president and COO of the company, right? He's also the founder of another company called Encapsula, right? So together, Checkpoint, Imperva, and Encapsula today have sold to hundreds and thousands of customers worldwide, right? Right. And together, when they form Cato Networks today, right, we have a capital venture of 532 million, which in valuation today is about 2.5 billion, right? And in terms of customer base, we have about 1,000 plus customers globally now, 11,000 branches, and 250,000 remote users worldwide, all right? Now, I'm sharing with you some of our customer reference here, right? And a part of the key things that I wanted to highlight here is that if you look at the vertical industry that we are in, right? We are not like some vendors who are very focused in government, in banking, or in finance. If you look at Cato, broad spectrum of customer base, we are in a lot of commercials and enterprise customer base, right? For example, retail, construction, manufacturing, right? Banking and finances, right? Hospitality, right? Insurance industry, right? Manufacturing and enterprise customers, right? But the key thing I would like to highlight here to you as well was, if you look at the total number of sites that we have here, this is where it plays the key differences, right? About us and our competitors. And that is, we work very well with customers who have multiple locations, right? So for example, we have a humble size of 21 or even 2 to 3 locations in some company startup, but we can venture all the way. We help customers to expand as their business grows, right? And we can move all the way up to 1,000 over customers, 1,000 over sites, right? With these customers. And this is where the true value, right, of a SASE platform will come in, all right? Now, this might sound a bit weird to some of you, but this is a statement that was made by Gartner in 2019, right? But I do have to tell you, Cato Network was started in 2015, right? So it was a statement that was defined by Gartner 4 years later after Cato Network was started, right? And that just shows you that the vision that our founder have, right? When he see the problem and the future going, he already knew what was the right platform forward, right? And Gartner made this interesting statement in 2019. And they say that decades of focusing on network performance and features, right? Which Gartner is talking about is the traditional way that we sell appliances, right? So how does that go about? Let me give you an example, right? When you go to a customer and you talk to the customer and he tell you he needs a security, right? First thing you think of was to have a firewall, right? Because firewall is to protect internal network, right? A proxy server is to protect outgoing, right? So when customer tell you, you propose accordingly, right? To the budget, to what he need, the features and specs, right? And of course, looking at the box performance, right? You define by the capability of the processor, right? The models, as it start to go up, the box can take more load, right? So you go accordingly, and then you quote accordingly, right? Now, this is what we mean by performance and features, right? The vendors basically produce the box according to a certain set of specs that they deliver to address that problem, right? And of course, from a firewall perspective, protecting internal network, right? So you talk about content filtering, right? You talk about basic proxy, right? You talk about certain basic mail protection, malware protection, everything you look inside there within the box itself that has capability, right, for them to address this. But Gartner say it's going to change. And they say that future network innovation is going to target at something else. It's no longer going to be on the box and what the box is going to do. You know? And he said it's going to target at operational simplicity, easy to manage. With the touch of a button, everything can be done, right? Automation, right? You don't have to involve a lot of people, right? The system will integrate, simple to manage, right? Reliability, less downtime, less patchware, less firmware upgrades, less RMA as well, right? And flexible business model, right? The pricing must be flexible, right? And they can house a lot of things that is easy for you to manage. And this is what they mean by that, right? Now, key question that you'll ask me probably is, why would Gartner make that statement when traditional boxes are doing so well? And everybody has been doing that for so many years, right? So part of the change that started to came in, right, was about the last 10 years. And it's fueled by something called digital transformation, right? That is the one thing. And second thing was because of cloud. And today, mobile users, right? In the past, we get a desktop that we put in the office, right? So every employee have to go back, sit on the table, and you're faced with a desktop with a screen in front of you, right? And 6 o'clock, when you finish your work, you turn off the computer and you go home. But today, with a laptop, you can work from anywhere, right? With a dongle or Wi-Fi at a cafe, you can be productive. So that changed the landscape, right? And just imagine traditional ways, the old days, right? 10, 20 years ago, MPLS was the king, right? Every telco player is just dying to go inside there. The first business was to build infrastructure for MPLS because they can control the market, right? And this is what customer needs. But that was last time, right? But today, with fusing, with a lot of things going to cloud, branch moving out, and mobile users that move around, MPLS doesn't serve so much of that purpose anymore. Yes, it works in certain way when DC fixed locations. Yes, it will still works, But as more users start to go about, and as cloud start to increase, that changed the landscape. And that was the reason why 5 years ago, SD-WAN came out, software-defined WAN, it came out, and it changed the market, right? It changed the market. A lot of users started to move up, right? And it's so much cheaper, right? So it changed the way it works. And suddenly there's another option that customer have. Hey, I don't have to go to MPS anymore, right? So imagine if I tell you today, there are more than 30 brands of SD-WAN players in the market. That's just how competitive the market is, right? And of course, as users start to move to cloud, right? A lot of vendors that has vanished suddenly all come back again, right? So can you guys remember the days of Riverbed? It was gone, right? It was almost gone, right? But because of cloud, optimization, acceleration, suddenly all these requirements start to come back. And a lot of new vendors, right, like Silverpeak and the rest, everybody started to jump into this space there, right? And this is why two solutions started to come up, right? Cloud security, right? the old days of Zscaler, suddenly everybody, it's all here, right? And cloud acceleration started to come up. And with a lot of business expanding, right? Branch security started to come up, right? Traditional firewall company that used to produce a firewall, today suddenly have something called branch firewall, right? Or Soho box or SMB firewall. Most of you will remember, right? And all this was never around. If you ask me about 1020, it was just a very small box. But today it's so well defined and packed with a lot of Wi-Fi and features there to address the small office, right? That can also replace a small router as well. Some of you might remember, right? And of course, as business expand, people look into global backbone, right? So most telco are strong within one country, but when you have multiple countries, right, the business gets bigger, more joint ventures and a lot of things started to come up, right? And of course, markets gets more competitors and more competition, right? And of course, lastly, mobile users, right? The old days, going back to office. How many of you go back to office today? If you ask me, a lot of us work from home, right? And sales is about meeting people, right? Going around, flying around regionally. You see, yeah. And two problems started to surface, right? How do you address mobility, right? Security and those things, right? And a lot of vendors started to come up, right? In mobile security, VPN, ZTNA, all these trends started to come up, right? And of course, network security is primarily the same, but features has added on after so many years, right? More and more things are packed into one small box, eh? And this is what basically fuels it. Now, a few key things I would like to address to you all here, right? And that is, well, that is a good thing, right? A lot of vendors started to come out, so many, right? Your choice are so flooded with so many things that you will be so happy, right? That you can test a lot of things. But a few things here that I have to highlight. Firstly, integration is always a problem, right? You have one brand or different brands or appliances. How are you going to make sure that your integration, right, is going to be seamless, right? And if something were to go wrong, second thing, how do you know that which of the appliances you have has problem, right? You have, as a partner, you have an SLA to deliver to your customer, right? But if you got so many boxes, 5 to 6 boxes at the premises there, how are you going to identify that which one of them has a problem, right? And the third thing, right, when you need to do reporting to your customers, with so many appliances, you need to reinvest into more appliances, right? In order to pull out the logs there. And you need to get an engineer who is trained to report the logs, to read the logs and the reports, right? So that you can present it to your customers, right? So all this takes a lot of time. Integration takes time. Diagnostic also takes time, right? And it's so complicated because you need to send your guys for training, right? 6 appliances means 6 different training and 6 different certification, right? And that was the reason why Gartner in 2019 said that, well, traditional things is okay, it's still going fundamentally, right? But existing network model today is already obsoleted and there is a new change forward, okay? Now, this is where the word SASE comes into place in 2019, right? If you remember, Cato was started in 2015, but SASE was defined by Gartner in 2019. That is 4 years later when they see the problem there. So what is SASE, right? It's a very interesting word because a lot of vendors say that they are SASE, right? And I can tell you, 10 appliances today, 10 appliances say that they are doing SASE, right? So what is the true definition of SASE as defined by Gartner, right? And the key thing is true converge of network and security as a service. So we have to understand here, right? SASE is not an appliances. That is first thing. SASE is on cloud, and SASE is with a cloud backbone that allows you to access anywhere in the world, right? So just take note, SASE is not an appliances. It's not an appliance. Huh? So for those of you who read appliance version of the SASE, you know what is SASE or not, right? But SASE is a converge of network and security, means you blend 2 things together into one onto a platform, right? Is we sit somewhere on the cloud, and that can be offered to anybody, anywhere globally. This is what we mean by SASE, okay? So interesting here is you will probably ask me, Dave, so what can your SASE replace? Or what can your SASE do, right? Since you say you're on cloud, you're not appliances, right? And users can access anywhere in the world. That sounds fantastic. So what can you exactly replace, right? So imagine the presentation I told you about the digital transformation, right? The one with the SD-WAN, global backbone, right? Global backbone, just imagine, global backbone. Firewall, next generation firewall, right? The cloud security, right? The proxy, all those, right? Cloud acceleration, WAN optimization, mobile VPN users, SDP, ZTNA, right? And unified management console, a reporting tool, a log, a SIEM solution there. And SASE from Cato Networks, we provide you a combination of everything together into one. So what we do is, how we build our SASE, right? This is the thing that a lot of customers will ask me, right? Okay, you are the world first SASE, Dave, but how do you build your SASE? Do you take appliances from the Fortinet and Checkpoint to build up your platform and you put somewhere in cloud and say, oops, that's my SASE? No. So how do we build our SASE? This is where the difference takes place, right? Now, we don't rely on any physical appliances or any traditional security appliances in the market. We don't take the best of breed, but what we do is we get the best people to write the source code from scratch up, and we build our own, and we integrate everything together into one, into a single core. And with that in place, we patent the technology called space technology, right? That allows it to give it a single pass technology. Means that the moment you get into the Cato cloud itself, the global cloud there, all this will perform in sequence place and out it goes. Globally supported by a global backbone. And this is our version of the SASE, all right? So from a top approach, how do we work, right? Okay, imagine the one that I see here, the big round circle green, right? Is the Cato backbone, right? And our POPs, everything inside there. All that we need to do was simple. Connect your devices, everything into our single POP here. Your HQ, your DC, your branches, your clouds, your mobile users, right? And of course, your application on cloud, right? And when you go into our Cato POPs, this is where our converge of network and security will take place, right? The proxy, the security, the network, right? The optimization, right? It will all take place there. And supported there, right, is a flexible management console that allows you to have a full view, right? That you can see your reporting, your user, your network, your security, everything, right? And with that, we are also supporting you with an optional managed services or fully managed services in the event that you need any assistance from us, all right? Okay. I think there's a translation into Vietnamese for this page here.
Yeah, and that give me a few minutes to plan Vietnamese for customer more understand. Yeah, thì anh chào các anh chị ạ. Dạ, thì theo như Dave chia sẻ thì với giải pháp Cato á, nó cung cấp cho mình cái khả năng kết nối, connect. Thứ nhất là về mặt network, cái thứ hai nữa cung cấp về khả năng về security cũng như là cái khả năng về thiết lập các chính sách policy. Thì ở đây á, sẽ là cho phép mình người dùng hoặc là cái tổ chức của mình, company mình dễ dàng kết nối vào cái hệ thống của data center hoặc là những cái chi nhánh kết nối vào những cái data center hoặc là mình kết nối lên cloud. Thì lúc này á, thì ngay cả cái người dùng mà truy cập thì mình có thể là tận dụng những cái lưu lượng truy cập, ví dụ như những cái đường kết nối internet hoặc các đường WAN, thì tất cả các đường này sẽ được bảo mật bởi Cato. Thì trên Cato này á, mình có thể là dễ dàng thiết lập những cái chính sách policy cho từng những cái dịch vụ phục vụ cho quá trình công việc của mình. Ví dụ như mình thiết lập những cái chính sách truy cập lên những cái ứng dụng của công ty mình, hoặc là ví dụ như những cái ứng dụng cloud, ví dụ như là SaaS như là Office 365 hoặc là Salesforce. Và ở đây á, Cato cũng cho phép mình đảm bảo được an toàn bằng cách họ build in cái security as service ngay trên cái hạ tầng của Cato. Thì ở đây á, khi mà các traffic cái lưu lượng của người dùng qua Cato thì mình có thể đảm bảo được các vấn đề bảo mật, ví dụ như là anti-firewall, security web gateway, anti-malware, hoặc là hỗ trợ về DLP hoặc cách bi thì ngay trên cái hệ thống Cato. Ngoài ra thì cái khả năng vận hành của Cato thì mình có thể là thuê cái dịch vụ do Cato quản lý, hoặc là mình có thể là tự mình quản lý những cái chính sách, những cái thiết lập, những cái policy của mình ở trên đó. Thì em giải thích ra rõ hơn về cái slide của Dev vừa chia sẻ. Hi Dev, you can continue.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, now the other key thing that make us unique from our competitors, right? And I'm so proud that I'm here to share this with you is we have our own global private backbone that we have built since we started the business to today. And today we got 70 POPs of locations around the world, right? Connected in the mesh network. And what we have as well was we only subscribe to tier 1 IP telco players around the world for us to support the infrastructure that we have. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Thành Dev. Thì đối với Cato thì đây là một cái giải pháp là hỗ trợ mạnh mẽ cho quá trình cái khả năng là SASE. Thì Cato xây dựng là như các anh chị cũng thấy trên cái slide thì Cato xây dựng là hơn 70 cái bóp trên toàn cầu. Thì tất cả những cái bóp này đều có thể đều đang chạy trên cái nền tảng là Cato SASE. Cho phép khi mà chạy trên cái nền tảng SASE này thì cho phép mình có thể thực thi những cái chính sách bảo mật, những cái dịch vụ mạng trên. Thì đặc biệt ở đây thì hiện tại cái bóp Cato là hỗ trợ, và hiện tại có một bóp đang đặt ở Việt Nam. Thì đối với những cái khách hàng ở Việt Nam thì trong nước thì có thể sử dụng trực tiếp, và cái lưu lượng thì cái lưu lượng này có thể là truy cập và trực tiếp qua các site ở Việt Nam thông qua là SD-WAN Cato, thay vì ví dụ như những cái giải pháp khác không có bóp ở Việt Nam thì phải là sử dụng reach out, lưu lượng traffic ra bên ngoài. Và đối với Cato thì cũng hỗ trợ optimize cho mình. Thì đối với những cái ứng dụng ví dụ như là trong nước của mình truy cập lên những cái SaaS cloud, ví dụ như Office 365 hoặc Salesforce chẳng hạn, rất là tiện lợi. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So what I show you, right, was the global backbone that we have, right? And from a top-down approach of how we do. So now let's get more deeper into the network itself on how we deliver our service to you, right? So imagine the converged network and security is our single point of presence, right? It's one of the POPs. So for today, right, in this presentation, this POPs is in Vietnam, right? And supported us, right? It's a global private backbone that's self-healing, connected through mesh network, through tier 1 IP telco, right, around the world, connected to 70 POPs around the world globally. And for every quarter, we are increasing by 3 to 4 POPs globally, right? And from the converged network POP itself, what do we have, right? So this is where we house our converged network and security together, right? So from a single hand point of view, how many appliances or how many things can we do in the single POPs, right? Cloud optimization, WAN optimization, global route optimization. So physically, we can replace the likes of the Riverbed, right? The Cisco routers, right? Or the routers and most people will define, right? And of course, dynamic carrier selection, right? And security stack, what can we replace, right? Or what do we have, right? Next generation firewall. We protect the internet and intranet as well. Secure web gateway, right? The likes of the proxy SG that some of you are familiar with, right? Full selective decryption, advanced track protection, right? Those products are last mile, FireEye, we have, right? ATP, right? And along the way in the roadmap now, by December, we are going to have CASB as part of the new features that's added into the security stack here. And by next year, March, we are going to have DLP, right? Integrating inside as part of the security stacks, right? And from a user perspective, if you all remember, right? Connect the users, right? The branches, the HQ, the users into the Cato POPs, right? So how do we connect? Two methods, right? We do have a small box called Cato socket. Now, Cato socket is not a firewall. It's not a branch firewall. It's not a branch office firewall or a SME box. It's not. Cato socket is just a router that provision SD-WAN and QoS, that's all, right? So it does the routing, it does the QoS, it helps to replace lease line and MPLS. But of course, after replacement, customers will ask me, MPLS has a SLA, right? But when I replace it with a normal internet line, performance will drop, right? Because there's no SLA. So how do you guarantee, right? Our Cato sockets allow up to 3 different internet WAN link connection into the Cato socket itself, so that we can do things like segmentation, link aggregation, right? Or how do you want to define it, right? And the Cato socket can also be configured as HA, right? So that in case if one goes down, the other links can take over, right? We can support failover, active, passive configuration. We can do that as well, right? Now, in event that customer don't have SD-WAN, customer don't have MPLS. So how do you connect directly into the Cato POPs? It's possible, right? Through IPsec configuration, the routers or the firewall, you can directly point, right, through IPsec into the Cato POPs itself. You can address through that as well, right? Now, the other thing, users on the move, right? The mobile users that we talked about, right? A lot of users are running around today. How do you connect into the Cato POPs, right? To get the security that you need to have, right? We got 2 methods of connection, right? Through client that you install on your laptop. Later for calling, he can show to you, right? So you can install a client on your laptop that's supported on Windows or Mac or PC or handphone or your iPad itself, right? Or if not, through clientless that you can install as well, right? Through clients, that means to say, you don't have to install anything, but on the web browser, you just point to the Cato client and you can log in from there, right? So you don't have to install anything on your laptop itself, right? Now, infrastructure as a service, the AWS, the Google, right? The Alibaba cloud, or or the Huawei cloud, those that you subscribe to, right? Those are infrastructure as a service. Now, 2 methods of connecting. We do have a Cato vSocket that is free of charge, right? You just allows you to install it as an instance to put it into the server that's based on cloud there. Now, another method that you can do it is through IPsec connection. Just point the IP into the Cato port itself, right? And you are inside there, okay? Now, the last thing, right? Application on cloud, the Salesforce, the SAP, right? And of course, the rest of the many other applications today that basically runs on cloud. You don't have to do anything, right? With those applications that are housed on cloud internationally, Cato POPs are housed in some of the strategic data center around the world, right? That sits with some of the servers there. So from there, we are able to access the DC on the application server that is nearest to them automatically, right? And once it goes into the global backbone, this is where the optimization, like the compression, TCP acceleration, everything will take place, right? All right, including detection and all these things. All right, and this is how it works. Now, on top of all this, it seems that we are doing a lot of things, which is true, right? And it's so magical because all this is done global backbone around the world, connecting you around the world, just imagine, right? And on top of that, we are able to give you something else, right? Unified management console. So unified management console, this will say from your desktop, you can see the activities of all this that's going on, right? Including the users, your network security, right? The changes that you need to change, right? And of course, the reporting, right? The usage of the users, what have the users been doing, right? You can see all this from a single console, right? Now, compared to non-SASE players, right? You have many appliances that makes up the backbone. But integration is always a problem, right? Because the console of each appliances is always different. So you need to maneuver to different appliances. So you need to switch from different console. But for us, because of the way we converge everything together, we give you the ability to see everything from a single screen, right? And from partners, when you sell to your customers, you can see multiple console of the customers that you're managing if you're providing it as a service to your customers. And this is the advantage that we have, all right? Okay, I will leave it to the translator. Yes.
Yeah, thì trên cái slide này á, thì như các anh chị thấy á, là chi tiết cái platform của Cato. Thì anh chị thấy á, thì đối với cái platform Cato này hội tụ đầy đủ những cái thành phần của một cái SASE. Ở đây á, ví dụ như khi mà ở dưới chi nhánh sẽ sử dụng những cái thiết bị cho phép Cato Socket sẽ là kết nối đến những cái backbone bus của Cato location ở vị trí gần nhất, thì thông qua những cái là tunnel mã hóa là IPsec. Thì ở trong này á, thì sẽ là hỗ trợ những khả năng ví dụ như optimize traffic, truy cập đến những cái ứng dụng cloud, những cái ứng dụng data center, hoặc là những cái cloud DC ví dụ như là Azure hoặc là AWS. Thì thông qua như anh chị thấy có cái gọi là cái global private backbone này sẽ là optimize những cái lưu lượng, những cái traffic của anh chị khi mà kết nối đến những cái data center hoặc là kết nối đến cloud. Thì ở đây á, thì Cato á, cái điểm mạnh của Cato cho phép các anh chị có thể là chuyển đổi những cái mạng, ví dụ như mạng MPOS. Thì MPOS á, thì thường á, thì nó đắt tiền, nhưng mà hạn chế lớn nhất của nó, ưu điểm của nó trước á, thì nó là ổn định, nhưng mà về cái hạn chế của nó là vẫn là về cái dung lượng. Thường anh chị thuê với cái dung lượng thấp, nhưng mà với cái giá thành á, là rất là cao. Thì đối với cái giải pháp Cato này cho phép mình có thể là chuyển đổi hoặc là kết hợp những cái liên kết, ví dụ như cái đường internet, đường FTTH với dung lượng cao, và với sử dụng kết hợp thêm cái sử dụng cái Cato SASE Cloud này đem lại cái khả năng là cái ổn định cho trong cái hệ thống của mình. Thì với khi mà cái sử dụng cái SD-WAN của Cato này sẽ là cung cấp mình, thứ nhất sẽ là tăng cái công suất sử dụng, cải thiện được cái khả năng là phục hồi, cũng như là cái chi phí tính theo là trên mỗi megabyte. Thì đối với cái Cato SASE Cloud này sẽ là tối ưu hóa được cái hiệu suất và tối ưu hóa những cái thông lượng cho các ứng dụng khi mà anh chị truy cập bên cloud, hoặc là những cái site chi nhánh mà truy cập về data center. Thì ngoài ra thì đối với Cato cũng cho phép mình đó là kết nối, tức là những cái client remote access từ bên ngoài. Thì Cato cho mình kết nối khả năng bảo mật các thiết bị, ví dụ như từ những cái máy trạm, điện thoại, hoặc những cái máy tính bảng iOS, Android của anh chị kết nối vào trong. Thay vì bình thường thì mình phải thực hiện VPN, đúng không ạ, kết nối về những cái data center, thì lúc này thì đối với cái hệ thống Cato cho phép mình có thể là kết nối về những cái pub gần nhất, và từ đó mình có thể là thiết lập hoặc những cấu hình, những cái là định tuyến tối ưu truy cập vào những cái site chi nhánh hoặc data center. Thì ở đây nó có cái điểm lợi là gì? Nó không giống như cái VPN truyền thống kết nối với data center, phụ thuộc vào cái đường truyền. Cái thứ hai nó phụ thuộc vào cái data center của mình, thường kết nối vào firewall chẳng hạn, hoặc router. Thì đối với Cato thì sử dụng những cái pub, sử dụng những cái backbone SAS cho phép thường thì cái khả năng đảm bảo hỗ trợ là thường là 24/7, cũng như là khả năng uptime là 99,99%, tạo cho mình cái khả năng là kinh doanh một cách là liên tục, và mình có thể là kết nối ở bất kỳ ở đâu, rất phù hợp với ví dụ như cái anh chị có thể là làm từ nhà trong cái giai đoạn là work from home, trong cái giai đoạn Covid hiện tại. Yeah. Hi, Deb, you can continue.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now, on top of what we sell as a service to customers, right? Now, we also offer optional managed services, right, that we can help the customers. So, a lot of customers and partners ask me, so why do you need to sell optional managed services, right? Because most vendors sell appliance and, the partners will do the work. Now, due to the fact that we are a global player and we give you a global private backbone, and when we give you a global private backbone, it allows you to expand your business out into the region, right? But of course, we do have to take note that when you move into a country, right, that the language becomes a problem and you're unable to support the languages in other regions, right? Like for example, in Vietnam, you could have sell customers in Japan or Mongolia, right? And at that instance, when you have language barrier, you are unable to communicate with your colleagues in the other countries, right? And that will be a problem. And this is why we do offer you optional managed services that we can help you to expand your business, right? Or for partners to deliver this as a service to their customers, right? So first thing what we have is intelligent last mile management, right? So what do we do with this, right? So imagine this service is very useful if you have a location that is very far away, right? For example, if your HQ is in Vietnam, but your customer could have seats in maybe New Zealand, for example, right? Now, if New Zealand internet line is down, you are going to have a problem. So how do you know that there's a problem, and how are you going to help when that person is 5,000 to 6,000 or 60,000 kilometers away from you, right? So what intelligence last mile management does is when you buy this service from us, right, the Cato socket will monitor the heartbeat of the internet line that you are subscribed to. And when the latency start to drop, our network operation center will detect that, and we will represent you to call the customers, to call the telco company that you subscribe to in their local in-country, and we will help to bring up the line for you. We will only close the ticket when the line is up and running, right? Okay, so this is what we do, intelligent last mile, right? Managed detection and response, right? Another useful features that we can support you, right? And within the Cato Global Private Backbone, we have our own network operation center and security operation center running inside our backbone. And we are able to track every traffic or packets that is going in and going out. And as such, we have the ability to detect malware, phishing sites, right? Or viruses, right? Or certain things that are going around in the network. Because we build our own intelligence, right? Built inside there. And our intelligence are able to learn and identify threats. And when you subscribe to this service, we'll appoint a dedicated security expert to be your advisor, right? And he'll advise you accordingly, right? And when we detect that that desktop or that user has a malware or phishing site, we are able to advise you accordingly, right? Now, a lot of customers ask me this question: how are you compare to third-party SOC providers, right? Or how do you compare yourself with other vendors who is doing MDR detection, right? Now, so first thing, we are always instant on, right? Why instant on? Because we build our own global private backbone. And within the global private backbone, the NOC and SOC is running 24/7, right? So we capture every packet that's going in and out of our network. And when that is in place, right, the trend is already running, right? And that's why it's always on. It's instant on, right? When you subscribe to a third party MDR, right, it's housed somewhere on cloud or some locations, right? And what happened is when you point your IP address to have the packet sent there for inspection every time, right? It takes time, right? Because they need to relearn the trend. So you need to leave it there for 1 week to 2 weeks for them to learn. But because for us, it's built within our own NOC and SOC global backbone, it's an instant on. That's the one thing. And secondly, the other advantage that we can give you is that we are totally 100% agentless. You don't have to install any agents on your laptop, on your server, or this, right? Because with our own global private backbone, we are able to detect it as it goes in and out. So this is the two key advantage that we have, right? The other one, hands-free management, right? Again, very useful if you're selling out of your country, right? Because in a country, within your own country, you will have the ability to speak local language, right? But when you go out of a country that has a different language, right, that becomes a problem because conversation, right? Unless you speak English and they speak English, right? But if you don't, it's going to be a problem. So what do we do for hands-free, right? When your users face a problem and they need to make changes on their console, right? So they call you, but you have no idea what he's talking. So we are going to have a problem here, right? But with hands-free, he just has to submit a ticket into our technical support center, and our technical support center will represent him to go into the console and make changes. Okay, so this is what we mean by hands-free management, all right? Rapid site deployment, very useful, right? As I did mention, we are very useful for customers who have a lot of locations or branches worldwide. But when you have so many locations, deployment is always an issue, right? Because some companies, right, lack of resources, lack of manpower, right, or limited resources for you to move around, right? And some countries are far away, right? So it takes a long time based on your project timeline to complete your project. So we have rapid site deployment that Cato itself will help you to deploy, right? Should you have multiple sites and locations, okay? And of course, designated support engineer, right? Another useful features for customers who have a very complicated network architecture, right? And with a complicated network that they have, they need a delegated support from the vendor itself, right? Who understand his network, so that when something arises and happen, they only call the same person who understand the network, and that can help to resolve, to bring up and provide a faster SLA to the customer, all right? Now, so what is the way forward, right? Simple. Instead of going traditional way, which again, I have to say, guys, it's not wrong, right? It's just that it has been traditionally our way of doing things, right? But technology have changed. Just look at today. A lot of things is on cloud, right? Infrastructure as a service, firewall as a service, right? And software as a service, right? And for that, there's a new way of selling and deploying your network, right? And if you look into Cato itself, all these features are built inside there that basically you don't have to add on any physical appliances anymore, right? And whatever you need, you just go accordingly and you just turn on the features accordingly to what you need, right? And this is the way forward. And this is why for Cato Networks, right, that we tell you, we are the world's first SASE platform, right? So key things, right, that I would like to recap here, right? Why Cato Networks, right? So firstly, we are 100% software as a service model. Even the Cato socket is as a subscription, right? So everything is monthly recurring or annual, right? Depending on how you want it, right? Secondly, we give you a true convergence of network and security as a service. Our backbone, our cloud, does not make up of any other third-party appliances. It's 100% built up by us, right? And true convergence of network and security. And with that, we give you a global backbone SLA of 99.999 uptime. And this 99.999 is available in our master service level agreement to you when you purchase from us, right? And because of a true convergence of network and security as a service, we are able to give you a single pass cloud engine, which is patented by us, right? And what we do is a single pass, it performs everything, and then it comes up. So you don't go from multiple boxes, right? Unlike traditional appliances, when you connect them together. Because we write everything together, a single pass, single out, right? And of course, customers who have concern, right, on data privacy, right? And of course, right, certification. We are SOC 2 compliant, ISO 27001 compliance, and GDPR compliance, right? We have the certificate to prove to you, right? Now, from a customer perspective, what is your advantage, right? We can help you to reduce physical appliances if you got multiple branch office, right? Giving you easier way for you to manage your network, right? Another key things, right, which I hate because I used to come from appliance days, right? We help you to cut down downtime, RMA. You don't need to do patch file and don't need to do appliance upgrade because all this is done on cloud. It's all handled by Cato itself, right? So to the customers or the partners, right, this is a seamless integration, right? You just experience what you need to do, right? And everything will be taken care of by us, right? Now, with the consolidation and the convergence solution, we also help you to reduce third-party management tool for consolidation, all right? And deployment is very fast. A typical appliances will take you probably, fastest I've heard of is about 3-4 days, right? Because you need to reconfigure and reboot the box. But in cloud, typically 2 hours to 1 day, and voila, that's it, right? And this is just how fast it is, right? And of course, because of the way that we build the true converge that we have, we give you a simplified integrated management console so that it's easy to manage, right? Easy for you to read. And we even built in a mini SIM for you to keep your logs for 6 months, allowing you to export and integrate with other SIEM solutions if you need to, right? And on return, we help you to cut costs, right? In terms of manpower, your guide certification, and all those things, all right? Now, sounds complicated, but easy. How do we do our pricing, right? When I talk so much, we talk about branches connecting everything up. So how do you do your pricing? Let me go through with you, right? Firstly, I just need to know how many sites do you have globally in Vietnam, outside Vietnam, APJ. Just tell us how many branches do you need? What is the bandwidth that you subscribe to? And what is the location of those sites there, right? The second thing, how many remote access users do you need? Now, this is very convenient, right? Because traditional appliance, VPN deployment is always an appliance on the branches, right? And how many users behind? But for us, because of our global private backbone, I don't need to know how many branches you need to have. I only need to know what is the total number of users that you have that need to be mobile. And that's it that I need. It's so straight and sweet. And on top of that, each user can have 3 concurrent devices running at the same time, all right? Thirdly, what are the security features that you need to turn on? We only got 3 kinds, right? The basic security, the more advanced, and the next generation, that's all. Again, it's as simple as ABC, right? And of course, many services, right? As I mentioned, is optional, right? But in event that your business or your customers has branches that is out of Vietnam into some countries, could be Japan, right? Or Russia, for example, right? Or you know, and language is a problem, right? This service might come in handy to support you, right? Okay. And of course, the last thing is, how many Cato sockets do you need? Why do I say this, right? It's not determined by branches because each site, you may not need to have Cato socket, right? So we can allow you to select how many sockets do you need, okay? Now, target market for us, right? As I did mention on the beginning of the slides, right? We are very good for multiple customers, right? So what kind of multiple customers? That's the question that I always get, right? So customers that has typically 5 or more locations, right? And the locations can be globally, regionally, or in country, right? Employee size, it depends, because it depends on total number, right, of VPN users that you need to have as well, right? And customers who are running on MPLS or lease line, and they want to get out of it, we provide a very good solution for this group of customers, right? And if you have a complicated network, right, and many appliances, right, a distributed firewall model, and you've got difficulties in managing multiple boxes across the region, right, our solution is very good fit to be in that picture as part of the consolidation and integration as well, right? So a common question that partner ask me, right, is, so can you integrate with existing firewall or infrastructure that I have already invested in my network, right? The answer is yes, right? We are not here to replace everything. No doubt we can, but we are not here to replace everything. We can allow seamless integration, and slowly along the way, right? When the maintenance retire, we can help. You can help to offset those along the way, right? And of course, we are very useful for companies who have very limited IT resources, but many branches or many appliances to take care. We can help you to take care of that. And this is a very good fit whereby we can come in. Because when we do consolidation, right, everything is a single pane of glass that allows you to manage the network even easier, okay? Target market, right? High capacity, resilient, cloud-ready network, right? Customer moving out of MPLS, wanting to get into SD-WAN. We are a very, very good fit for these kind of customers. I've talked to many customers in the region here, and a lot of customers today, to be honest, are looking for MPLS, right? Especially the newer generation, right, of people. They understand what the MPLS is, but they see the benefit of SD-WAN, and they are wanted to move out of it. And this group of customers potentially is a very, very good customer who understand what it is to move into SD-WAN, right? Okay. The other thing, secure internet access without appliance, right? The old days, if you've got 10 branches, you need to buy 10 firewall, just imagine, right? But if today, everything were to go infrastructure and firewall as a service, how would that have changed the landscape, right? You don't need to configure 10 times, right? It can be on cloud and pushed down remotely, but everything is on cloud. So it's transparent to you, it's seamless, right? So these are the advantages that we can give you, right? Okay, work from anywhere, right? Mobile users, VPN, right? ZTNA, right? Just imagine, work from anywhere, right? It's uncommon today if I tell you that everybody has to go back to office, right? Because today, 50-60% people can move around, and they need to move around to meet people, right? To do business, you know? And this is the way things works now, you know? Yeah, and for that, VPN solution is a definite plus. And we work very well, right? For companies who have a lot of VPN users, like, for example, insurance company, financial institution, right? Mobile users, right? You know, IT personnel as well. These are very, very good solutions for us, okay? Hybrid and multi-cloud migration. As I did mention to you, if you tell me today that that you have a customer that don't have cloud, he's always in the office with a desktop, honestly, I'll be surprised. But today, I've talked to so many customers, everybody is on a hybrid cloud model, right? Or multiple cloud, in fact. Some has Google, has AWS, they got so many things. They just want to leverage to get the best price out of everywhere, right? But once you have that in place, optimization, security, performance will come into place, right? So instead of subscribing to another third party to enhance on what you have, come to Cato, right? With our global backbone, we can help you to do enhancement there, as well as providing you a global backbone to help you to expand your business as your business starts to grow globally, right? Improves global network performance. Now, this is interesting topic because a lot of people will always say, because this part of the region, many people have offices or factories in China, right? And Cato is one of the vendors that has a full network and services inside China itself. And we can offer you performance and security, right? From China, likewise, the same as is outside in here as well. And this is one of the key advantages that we have, okay? Yeah, and another key advantage is that when you expand your business, right? You don't have to source for local telco all over the place, right? You just have to subscribe to a normal internet line through the socket because our global private backbone will automatically connect you all over the world, right? Okay. And of course, the last thing, right? Simplified network operation. Imagine the old days, right? The server rack has 10 appliances and you need to manage things with multiple consoles, right? But with us, everything is integrated. As what my colleague will demo to you, you can see for yourself how our single pane of glass works, right? And of course, from the Cato client and ZTNA, the features that we have, right? That allows you to do that as well, you know? Yeah, and of course, as your business grow, right? The Cato socket, right? It can be zero touch provisioning, the setup as well. So it's actually quite simple and straightforward, allowing you to faster deploy, right? As your business start to grow, okay? And that's it for my presentation. I shall hand over the presentation down to Colin that will present to you our CC2 console, all right? Okay, okay? I shall hand over to Colin, thanks.
Thanks, Dave. I think before we move forward, maybe I see a lot of questions is not answered. Maybe let's clear all the answers first before I move to the demo. Okay. Maybe
Okay.
Mandy, you have to do some translation.
Hi, Colin. You can finish your demonstration before enter the part of Q&A later. So you can start your demonstration now.
Okay, sure.
Okay, I'm collecting the questions for you now.
Okay,
Don't
good. Yeah, yeah. Some of the questions I cannot understand. Sorry, I cannot type the answer. Okay. So everybody can see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, so right now I will do a quick run through of our management portal. As the information just now, right? So from this management portal, you can do all the network and the security configurations. You can do all the reporting, see the real-time traffic, and also you can do the event discovery to do the troubleshooting, right? So traditionally, I mean, maybe using point solution, the security, one optimization, network, SD1. So they are separate device. You need to log into different portal to do the configuration. Right. So here I will show you how we can manage all these network and security in this single portal. Okay. So after you log in, as you can see from here, you will pop up with the topology. Right. So at the center is our Cato SASE cloud. You can see that a lot of device, branches, users is all connected to this Cato SASE cloud. Right. So as you can see, for example, we can roughly see, okay, totally we have 400 users, and 7 of the users is up and online. And then we have 5 sites, and all the 5 sites is online. Okay, and also you can see from here, what is the security service you enable? Okay, we can see, normally, right, we have already enabled all the security service for the firewall, for the internet firewall, and also for advanced authorized provision, like anti-malware, anti-malware, and also IPS, right? So from this portal, okay, for example, I pick up one location, maybe my Israel office. Okay, so on the right side, you can roughly see the basic information of this office. For example, you can see I have 2 different links connect to this office. I have what's the latency, data, and packet loss for this side, and what is the throughput looks like. And who is using my application? I can see most of the application is Zoom, right? And for each of the user, right, I can see all the users connect to this branch, right? So this gives you a high-level brief information about this site. Of course, from here you have some quick links. For example, you can do deep dive into the analytics to see more detailed information about this site, and also you can see all the event information and audit trail information, right? And also you can do the configurations, more configurations. For example, you can come to here. By default, for example, for this site, I'm using a 1500 this socket. So I can see from here, I have, okay, I have 2 different one link, right? Also, I have, for example, each of the link I connect to Cato SASE cloud. What's the bandwidth? Whether, for example, in the future, I got another link, right? I want to enable the 3rd link. So you can come to here, you can change the configuration and make, for example, the line 2, maybe I could change it to another one interface. You can do all the configuration, all the changes from here. And also you can do the, for example, your normal BGP routing. You can do your local port forwarding. You can do the QoS, everything from here. And also you can manage the device HA. For example, I can see why the device HA is working, right? So this gives you all the SD1 capabilities, all the normal routing and switching capabilities from this box. Okay. Feel free to stop me if or raise any questions during my demo. Okay. So let's go back. So this is one office, one box, and also we can see the VPN users, right? So for example, most of us I'm working from home right now, right? So you can see whether your user is connected to your office network or connect to our SASE cloud. You can see similarly, what is the basic high-level information, what's the bandwidth, what's the rate, what's the top application this user is using, right? This gives you some idea of whether this user is using some legitimate traffic. Okay. Right, later I will show you, I will quickly run through the portal, and later I will show you some demo, some use case, so you can understand better, right, about our solution. So the first thing I want to show you is how to do the configuration. For example, if I want active connections. For example, we some of us maybe know SD1 solutions from other vendors. We can do active connections. We can select certain links to send the traffic. We can do path selection, right? How we do this in Cato? Very simple, right? You can do all the configuration, network configurations, QoS in our network rules, right? So let's open up here. So as you can see an order-based rule from here, right? You can define your policy from here. We have some predefined policy at the below. For example, we have the 1 RDB traffic, voice traffic, we get high priorities, and also we do the HA for this high priority traffic. Of course, you can define your own customized rules. As you see from here, you can select the different applications, or maybe, for example, you can select the different VPN users or site. And then later you can choose, for example, how do I want to route this traffic? Okay, you can see from here below. All right. I can select my first link. For example, I want to send to Cato, right? And maybe the second link, I want to send to another application, another link. For example, I have my MPS link, or maybe 3G link. I want to send to this link for redundancy, right? You can configure the policies based on your business need, right? And on top of that, we can also configure acceleration and optimization. So basically, normally, you cannot do this in SD1. And maybe you need another dedicated one optimization device to do the optimization for you. So for us, it's very simple. It's just one row. You can configure your network policies. And also you can define, for example, whether I want to optimize or accelerate this link, right? So for example, if you have a lot of voice or video traffic, right, I can do the packet loss mitigation as well. Just one click. We can duplicate the packet and send the duplicate packet over both links to your destination. Right, so even one copy is lost, the other copy still arrive at the destination. So this can greatly increase your voice and video performance because there's no retransmission for this case, right? And also you can set the priorities. For example, I have different applications in Office. I can set high priorities to my, for example, business critical applications, set low priorities, for example, for this YouTube or Netflix, this traffic, right? So you can do all the path selection, optimization, and the QoS in just one simple rule. So this is where you configure your network policies. Okay, any questions so far for the networking side? Okay, so if no question, let's move on. Maybe later after this demo, after all this, I do all the demonstration. You can ask questions later, right? So the second question is how can we configure security, right? So we know security normally you need to log into a different portal, maybe Checkpoint, maybe FortiGate, Palo Alto. You need to configure separately on this security device. So from here, I mean, how we enable security? Simple. You just go to our security menu. You can see here we have 3 different options for you. One firewall. This one basically control the east-west traffic between the users and the data centers, or maybe from the branches to the data centers. Right. You can configure all the policies based on your business need. For example, I only allow certain branch to talk to this data center, or only allow certain users to use applications in data centers. You can control everything from here. It's an enterprise layer 7, enterprise grade layer 7 firewall. You can have very detailed configurations based on the layer 7 information, not just based on layer 3 and layer 4 information. Similarly, for internet firewall, right, you can do all the controls. For example, based on applications, based on the application categories, or based on the source IP, destination IP, and also based on the service you are using, right? So from here, as you can see, we have defined some customized rules. This is what we define. I mean, if you are familiar with the network security device solutions, I mean, it's very easy for you to pick up and do all your configurations in Cato. Right, so we have some predefined rules below, right? Here you can see here, right? This compromise, anonymize malware, phishing, these applications is blocked by default. So from user, when you provision a user or when you provision a site, by default, all these security measures will be enabled by default. Of course, you can customize, you can further enhance your security measures later, right? And also, besides this firewall, we also have advanced threat provisions. Like from use here, you see we have anti-malware. Basically, you have, for example, you have a lot of vulnerabilities, maybe virus or spam, or this. We can all block from here, right? We can have, as you can see, of course you can customize your own signatures or customize your own policies based on your business. We already, for example, after you enable the rules, we have some small default policies for you as well to block certain anti-malware or this website, and certain known signatures for this anti-malware. And also you can enable IPS features. So normally how we enable IPS, right? So we enable IPS in data center, right? You can look at your own architecture, right? So most of the time, customer will only enable IPS in data center, or maybe, for example, they send certain traffic from the branch data center and do the analysis in the data center. This is because, I mean, most of the case in branch side, using a small UTM device or small firewall device. If you turn on these IPS features, the performance can drop significantly, right? That's why in data center, you have a powerful box, you can do the IPS there. But for us, all the IPS, all the security features, anti-malware features is in the POP, right? So you can turn on all the security features in every location, even on a single user without performance drop. So this is totally different architecture, right? This totally change your deployment. So you no need to worry about, okay, my data center is protected, but my user, my end user, my branch is not protected, right? So what after you enable this, every location, every single point is protected. So you can protect, as you can see from here, you can protect one traffic, inbound traffic, east-west traffic, and north-south traffic as well. So every location is protected. And also we have some geolocations or some more detailed
Sorry, Colin, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I think he has some trouble with his connection.
Let me text him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one. Okay, he's back again. Sorry.
Yeah, Colin,
Hi, Colin.
you are on mute.
Sorry. So this is for the security side. So next one is how about the report? How about the visibility? Right. I think very important. It's very important for the enterprise to have a deep insight about the traffic, and also for the security event. In case something happens, how can I do the troubleshooting? How can I find the root cause? Right. So all this is you can see from our analytics menu, right? So you can from here you can see each of the site, each of the users, or each of the application or domain or categories, what's happening, who is using your traffic. I mean, what the application is, it's taking your bandwidth. You can see all this detailed information. For example, I just click my Israel office. From here, I can see all detailed report. I can see two links is connected. As one is active, another is standby. This light green means that this link is standby. I can see each of the link, the packet loss, the jitter, and delay, right? And what's the distance, which pop is connected, right? Because this is our Israel office is connected to the pop in Israel. And also I can see upstream and downstream, the packet loss, jitter, and the throughput, right? And also, if I want to analyze whether my critical application is protected, I can go this priority analyzer. I can see, okay, you can see from here, right? This green means that some traffic running on this priority policy, right? So you can see different priority. For example, P10 is higher priority than P20. Okay, see from here, okay, what's the application running on P10, priority 10, right? You can see all these applications. Zoom is high priority, right? Skype and MS Teams is high priority, right? And also maybe, for example, in case you can fix some QoS policy, you want to know whether it take effect, you can also come here, right? So if we go to P255, this is default policies for all the internet, right? For the non-critical applications, you can see from here, we have some non-critical application for TCP and SFP traffic. I mean, most of traffic, I think, is running on P10, on high priority. So means you are protected, and also this critical application will be sent first. Also, you can see very detailed report in the usage. For example, from here, just give it a bit time because sometimes it take a long time to, generate the report. Okay, so from here you can see the detailed information, how much traffic you receive, how much traffic is sent, And also, what is the top application using your bandwidth? So from here, we see, I mean, in the last day, of course, you can select the day based on last hour, last day, or last 30 days. You can customize your date range as well. So from here, I see last day, yesterday, most of the traffic, top 5 traffic is Zoom, Office 365, and video, and also some SharePoint traffic, right? So roughly, I know if you see a Netflix traffic from here, maybe you need to customize the rules to limit Netflix traffic, right? So, and which domains is talking to, and which host, which user is using your traffic. You can see all this detailed information from here. Okay, and also you can see the host information, right? Just now we show you some hosts. You can show detailed host information for certain hosts. What the traffic is sent, what traffic, how much bandwidth they are using. You can see this detailed information from here. Also, you can see this site. I mean, whether there's security event, whether there's security vulnerabilities in this site. For example, from here, okay, automatic filter based on this site. You can see from here, all right, at the very detailed event here, right? So you can see the rule, which one it hit, which policy it hit. For example, from here, I will hit this allow SMTP policy, right? I will know what is the source IP address, what the protocol they are using, right? And what's the destination, what's the application, it's a DNS application, right? What's the source site, all this detailed information, right? Which port are connecting to, all this information I will show. Source destination, I mean, it's not just a big traditional firewall, maybe just give you source destination and port number, but we give you more information, right? We'll give the policy, we hear which the port is connected, and also it gives you more information. For example, if you want to filter, right, you can see here, there's a button here. If you just want to filter all the event, just based on, for example, this source IP address, I can just click this add this filter. Automatically, all the event will be filtered based on this source IP address. Very simple for you, because there's so many events in the system, maybe 1 million, maybe 100K event. So how to quickly find the event, for what's happening, how to quickly find out what's happening during this time, right? You can do all the filtering, for example, based on the field. As you can see from the left side, some of the popular field, for example, based on the category, based on the event tab, based on applications, whatever field you want to filter. Very flexible. I mean, if we want to just see, okay, for this application, I want to filter based on application. I just one click, okay, filter based on DNS. So all the event you can see, I mean, all the events shown here will be filtered based on the filter criteria you said just now. Right. So this is what's happening. I mean, the event discovery for this site. Of course, you can set the event discovery for application for certain users as well. And also from here, you can see the real-time traffic. For example, for this site, I have 2 different links. Right. I can see all my traffic is running on my primary link. What's the throughput, what's the packet loss, jitter, and the latency. I can see all this information. Right. For some customers, they want to see, okay, how is my link usage? You can see all this detailed information from here. And I can see my second link actually is no more traffic from this one. That's only some prop, right? Some heartbeat traffic from this link, right? So as you can see, right, this is for the office. Similarly, for VPN users, I mean, I don't want to go to detail for these VPN users. You can see the similar thing for the VPN users as well, and the applications and the domains, right? So from here, you can see, I can see all the real-time and historical data, right? So we can store up to 6 months data, right? So you can also export this, for example, if 6 months is not enough, you can also export these logs to your own log system or SIEM systems. You can consolidate all this information and present, I mean, in your SOC or NOC system, right? So as you can see, right, this is a single portal. You do all the networking, configurations, path selections, WAN optimization, and also you do all the securities, no matter it's the internet firewall, WAN firewall, and IPS or anti-malware features. This is the place you do all the analytics and the event discovery. Yeah. So previously, maybe you need multiple solutions like WAN optimization. You need a real bay, maybe checkpoint for the security, right? SD1 maybe value cloud. Maybe you need NPM, real best steel central, whatever solution for the NPM or APM, right? You need a syslog for the log system. But right now, everything is in one single place. You can do everything, I mean, from this single portal to the configuration monitoring and the event discovery, right? So let's this is, I mean, quickly run through of this demo of this, of this portal. Next, I want to show you, I mean, for example, you have a customer want to use Cato, how to quickly onboard this site. For example, I got a new site, how to quickly onboard this site, how to quickly create these VPN users, right? And also, if time allows, we can how to see the benefit, for example, like security and the one optimization features, right? Let's see how much time we got, right? Maybe we quickly do you one demo for this onboard this socket. So this is, I mean, just now is a demo account. So right now for this demo, I'm using my own account. So this is a demo topology, how it looks like. I have my home office in my home. I have HA pair of the socket. Is our SD1 device. Also, I have, as you can see from here, some virtual socket in the public cloud, in AWS, in Azure, and also in EXSS server, right? And for some site, for example, I don't want to use a socket. I can use standard IPsec connections, right? For the remote users, for here, I can connect directly from browser or maybe using a VPN client, right? Let me switch to my own demo account so I can show you. Okay, everybody can see this demo account. All right, this is my own demo, as you can see from here, right? Right, as I show in the slides, right? I have my own, I mean, home lab. I have 2 sockets connect to it, and also some of the virtual socket in public cloud and private cloud. I also have a VPN user. So right now, for example, I have another site. I want to quickly onboard this site. What can I do, right? Normally, what can you do, right? So if you are using for traditional router switches, you need to go down to the data center. You need to, I mean, you need to console to the box and do the IP configurations, right? Do all the configurations. But right now, for us, very simple. For example, right now I have a new site in Ho Chi Minh, right? Just as a site from here, I choose whether type is branch or data centers. What is the socket you're using? What's the model you're using? For here, I'm using this X1500. You select your location. For example, I choose Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh, right? You select your, for example, you set your bandwidth. What's the bandwidth you get from your ISP, right? Upstream, downstream. And also this native range is the one in the LAN network. What is the IP address you want to assign to your LAN network, right? So for example, from here, maybe I give you one private range, maybe 200.0/24, okay? I just click OK. So you can see we have already added one site, which means site, right? But you can see this red cross here means this site is not connected to this our Cato SASE cloud yet. So what do you need to do? I mean, for example, we deliver the box to you. What do you need to do? Very simple, right? So from here, I give you one. I have one actually at my home. So normally how it looks like this, right? So for this box, it have, as you can see, 4 different interfaces. So by default, the port 3 is connected to the internet. The port 1 is connected to your LAN network, right? So right now, I already put on the box and connect this one switch to the internet switch. You can be a router, whatever, just get one IP address. So 2 simple steps, connect the cable and power up, right? So later, you will pop up a notification from here, as you can see from here. I just put on this device, right? So from here, you can see, okay, activate new socket, right? This is a serial number. You can check on the box, right? And also this is your IP address. So we'll know whether this is the correct box, okay? So after this notification, right, I just, okay, I want to let this box to join my Cato network, right? So you can assign this socket to a site, for example. Okay, just now I configure the Ho Chi Minh site, right? There's no socket yet. I just assign this socket to this site. Okay, right. So we need to wait a few minutes. So what this socket will do, they will talk to our SASE cloud, and they do all the verification and also get the latest version of the OS, and they do some upgrade if needed. And also they will pull all the configurations from this portal. So maybe we wait for a while, right? So later you can see this site. Okay, right now you can see this site actually is to show the location already. So let's wait for a while because they still synchronize the configuration between all the POPs, right? So after this site is up and running, right? So this red cross will go, right? So let's wait for a while. Maybe it will take, sometimes maybe it takes 1 to 3 minutes. So while we are waiting, is there any questions? Okay, it's up already, right? Right, so you can see this box is up already, right? All the red cross is gone, right? It shows the status, as you can see, we just click this one. Okay, it's uptime a few seconds. This one, this is IP address. What's the distance? Right now, actually, they're still calculating the latency packet loss, and no much traffic yet, right? So right now, if you connect this socket, for example, you connect your PC to this socket line 1, you are able to surf the internet already. Yeah, simple, right? Just configure one site, just tap in all the information, and power on the socket, connect the cable. That's how, right? This box is up and running in maybe 3 to 5 minutes. This is how we onboard a socket and configure a site. So next one is, what if I have a VPN users, right? So for example, most of us working from home, I want to create a VPN user for this one, right? How we do that? So similarly, very simple, right? You can do from here, just click here and add a VPN user, username and an email, right? You can also see from here, I also already have a few email users already. So normally what do? You just tap the username and password, username and the email address. So later, Cato will send an email to the client. For it's something like this, right? I just send it right now, just configure right now to save the time. So they will show you, okay, configure your network size to this account. You can see your account name, username, and also it asks you to click here to activate, right? Once you click, they will pop up a link, ask you to fill in your username and password. So you just give whatever password you need, right? So after that, they will log into a portal, right? To like this, right? So you can download the VPN client from here, right? So you can see, okay, this is what I logged in just now. This is my account. I can fit. You can download the VPN client, and also you can download the profile as well, right? So this is the VPN client I download just now, as you can see, right? I'm connected already. So you just as a user.
I think he has trouble again.
This VPN user can be up and running, can use all your applications in the enterprise. Very simple, right? Okay, I think that's all from my side. Any questions?
Yeah, Colin.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you for your demonstration. Then we can turn to the most exciting part by today, questions and answer. Cảm ơn anh chị và các bạn trong lúc nghe phần trình bày của Dave và Colin đã gửi rất nhiều câu hỏi về cho ban tổ chức. Trong đó câu hỏi mà ban tổ chức nhận được nhiều nhất là liên quan đến sale, cách tính license như thế nào. Thì đây em sẽ nhờ hãng trả lời về câu hỏi này đầu tiên. Hi Dave. The first question is for you.
Okay.
Yes. They are asking about how to calculate license for purchasing.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, how?
Sure. So well, licensing is quite straightforward, right? It's based by branches. So the first thing is always based by the number of branches that you have, right? So for example, if you got one office in Vietnam and then maybe another 4 office in Malaysia, those kind of things, so it's total 5, right? Then on top of it, you also have to add in those AWS that you are subscribed to, all this. So it's total number of branches, the locations, and the bandwidth you're subscribing to. So that's the one point. The second thing, total number of VPN users, total number of mobile users that you have in total, right? So these are 2 things. Then the other thing will be the optional managed services that you need it or not, right? And of course, the other thing will be total number of socket they need. So it's quite straightforward. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Jeff. On all the things that do they have any advantage while they purchasing via Westcon?
Oh, of course, because Westcon is my only distributor in Vietnam. So you cannot buy from anyone else in Vietnam.
Yeah, they're asking about the special price or special discount in case that they buy via Westcon.
Okay. Westcon is my sole distributor in Vietnam itself, right? Yeah. So you can only buy through them. So this is something that I have to make it very clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you Vinpang?
Hello anh, on miss.
Ok, thì nãy thì như Dave cũng có chia sẻ về license, thì chắc là để mình chia sẻ về tiếng Việt tí về phần license và cách gọi là tính để cho mọi người dễ hiểu. Đầu tiên là mình cũng giống như tất cả các giải pháp khác thì mình sẽ cần cái gọi là bao nhiêu size. Thì ở mỗi size mình có thể sử dụng là virtual appliance hoặc là hardware là cái Cato circuit. Thì nếu với virtual appliance thì mình sẽ không có bị chặt phí. Đó là cái thứ nhất về cái thiết bị để kết nối. Cái thứ hai, license nó tính như thế nào? Thì license ở đây nó sẽ có 2 loại, là license để mà kết nối trong nước, nó gọi là local bandwidth subscription, và một cái nữa là license kết nối quốc tế là global bandwidth subscription. Thì tùy theo cái nhu cầu, ví dụ tất cả size của mình là ở trong nước Việt Nam hết thì mình sẽ chỉ cần mua local thôi, mình không cần mua global. Thì với cái license mà cái license bandwidth nó sẽ bao gồm luôn tính năng gì trong đó? Với license bandwidth nó bao gồm luôn tính năng entry firewall và URL filtering. Thì đây là một cái điểm khác biệt của Cato so với lại những cái giải pháp SD-WAN khác trên thị trường. Bởi vì hầu như những giải pháp SD-WAN khác hiện giờ, những cái giải pháp thì họ không có cái tính năng security trong đó. Rồi, mọi người nhớ cái basic là nó sẽ có thêm gọi là entry firewall và URL filtering. Ngoài ra mình sẽ có những cái add-on license để mà mua. Entry malware, next gen anti malware là cái thứ nhất. Cái thứ hai là IDS. Đó là hiện tại 2 cái mà gọi là add-on license ở thời điểm hiện tại. Trong tương lai sắp tới thì Cato sẽ phát triển thêm 2 cái tính năng nữa, đó là về CISP và một cái tính năng nữa là DLP. Thì nó sắp tới nó cũng sẽ là những cái add-on license thêm cho khách hàng nếu mà có nhu cầu sử dụng với giải pháp của Cato. Rồi, bên cạnh đó thì giống như Dave chia sẻ thì mình cũng sẽ có thêm một cái license dựa trên là cái số lượng user report access truy cập từ xa. Thì cái này nó sẽ đếm dựa trên số lượng user và mỗi user sẽ được truy cập đồng thời là 3 thiết bị. Thì đó là về nguyên tắc và về cách tính license của Cato. Thêm cái nữa là Cato cũng tính license về cái bandwidth, nó cũng khác với những cái vendor khác là Cato cho phép mình mua lẻ, nghĩa là 1 mê, 2 mê, 3 mê, 4 mê gì đó tùy theo nhu cầu sử dụng của mình, chứ không phải là từng cái gói lớn mà phải mua theo từng cái gói lớn. Đó là một trong những cái chia sẻ của mình về cái cách mà Cato tính license như thế nào. Thì tất nhiên rồi, với từng cái nhu cầu khách hàng thì sẽ có những cái request special hơn, thì có thể liên hệ với phía Westcon để mà bên mình có thể hỗ trợ mọi người tư vấn cũng như lên cái BOM cho nó chính xác.
Chắc là bây giờ mình sẽ chuyển đến những cái câu hỏi về kỹ thuật. Hi Colin, we have some questions for you from the technical side.
Okay. So about the technical question, Colin, the first is the first question is our customer is asking about the local and the global bandwidth.
Good question.
So
yeah.
The question is, if we have branch in Vietnam and we have another branch in Singapore or Malaysia. And in both branch, we buy the local bandwidth only, regional bandwidth only. So how the traffic between the Vietnam and branches in other country?
Okay, so the reason for us to differentiate the local and the global bandwidth is because in Vietnam, I think the local ISP, I mean the domestic ISP cost is much lower than the global one, right? If you go to other country, other region, the cost is maybe 15 times higher than the domestic lease line, right? And domestic internet. So that's why for us, we enforce the different bandwidth, different traffic. We enforce, for example, if you buy domestic, maybe 10 Mbps, right? So we enforce this for domestic 10 Mbps. But if you buy global, for example, 20 Mbps, we will enforce by 20 Mbps for the global, right? You cannot exceed for different or two different kind of bandwidth, right? You need to give us, for example, roughly what's the domestic internet traffic, what's the volume, what is the roughly, for example, go overseas, how much is the traffic, right?
So
answer your question.
So in case our customer don't buy the global traffic, so yeah, Cato, we won't quarantine the traffic between the Vietnam to the other country.
Yeah,
but
we will
still run. Yeah.
Yeah, it will still run, but we'll throw the traffic. Yeah, based on the bandwidth you purchase.
Yes. Okay. And yeah, another question for you is our customer asked about how long we keep the event from our portal.
Okay, so we keep maximum 6 months. 6 months for the event, but the customer have the capability to export this event to their own system, right? So if they need, for example, more than 6 months, right?
Yeah, because some company need longer time. For example, 1 year or 2 years. So yeah, can we support this?
Yes, definitely we can support that. We can support that. I mean, right now by default it's 6 months, but for certain customer they request a longer, for example, retention period. We can also, I mean, ask our product team to have to extend this this traffic for this customer. But that one is, I mean, is for special case. But by default, we recommend the customer to use to export this log or event to their own system, right?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, we can still support, but just for the special case, and we need to raise to the team before. Okay.
Correct. Because this, because we store our logs and event in the cloud, right? So we will take more space. Definitely, the cost may be slightly higher, right?
Yeah, and yeah, with our solution, we have entry firewall, we have SD-WAN, we have ZTNA, VPN, blah blah. But our customer want to know that if we have plan to deploy the endpoint protection or EDR in our roadmap.
Yes, we have the plan to do that. Yeah, but right now still, I mean, as you can see in our architecture, it's slightly different from the rest of the product. I mean, because we do all the security, we do all the filtering in the cloud, right? So as long as your, endpoint is connected to our cloud, it can be protected as well at this moment. But in the end, of course, we will add on more features. For example, like device posture on the endpoint, we will add more features on top of that, right?
Okay, so thanks for your answer. Yeah, we have another one answer, but I think the next question I will answer by Vietnamese.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Cảm ơn phần trao đổi vừa rồi giữa anh Vinh Phan và Colin. Trong lúc mình tiếp đến những câu hỏi tiếp theo thì để tránh làm mất nhiều thời gian của anh chị, em xin chuyển qua phần live survey để có thể gửi đến những phần quà là voucher của Vinmart trị giá 100.000 đồng và sẽ dành cho 100 anh chị đầu tiên hoàn thành khảo sát bằng email của công ty. Dạ, xin mời anh chị Vinh.
Ok.
You can continue.
Ok, thì câu hỏi tiếp theo thì em thấy cũng có rất là nhiều các anh chị hỏi ở đây. Đó là quan tâm tới hai thứ. Cái thứ nhất là về nếu mà sử dụng cái giải pháp của Cato thì nó có những điểm mạnh gì? Và cái thứ hai là mọi người có vẻ cũng đang rất là quan tâm tới cái việc mà vận hành như thế nào. Thì Thống, em có thể chia sẻ với mọi người thêm về cái phần này, những cái điểm mạnh của Cato cũng như là về việc vận hành như thế nào.
Dạ, ok anh. Dạ, thì như các anh chị cũng thấy á, thì thông qua cái buổi chia sẻ của Dev cũng như là cái buổi demo rất là chi tiết của cô Linh á, thì thấy được cái giải pháp của Cato á, là nó sẽ là all in one, tất cả những cái thành phần security đó là đã được tập hợp vào trong cái SA1 của Cato, bao gồm ví dụ như là ng firewall, bao gồm cả về web filtering, và cả sắp tới đây sẽ là cả phần DLP cũng như phần cách bi được tích hợp vào trong cái này. Thì đối với cái phần mà tích hợp quản trị thì như các anh chị cũng thấy á, trong cái phần mà demo của cô Linh đó, thì việc quản trị rất là đơn giản, cấu hình một cách là đơn giản. Anh chị chỉ cần truy cập vào, tất cả sẽ được vào quản trị trong một cái giao diện duy nhất. Cái thứ hai nữa là về cái phần là tích hợp hiện tại, thì đối với về Cato thì vẫn khuyến cáo anh chị nên sử dụng những cái Cato socket để mình kết nối những cái site, kết nối vào trong cái hệ thống những cái bot của Cato. Tuy nhiên thì anh chị cũng có thể là tận dụng được những cái thiết bị sẵn có của bên mình, ví dụ router, firewall, chỉ cần đơn giản là thiết lập kết nối IPsec VPN vào trong hệ thống Cato, thì lúc này anh chị có thể là tận dụng và sử dụng được cái công nghệ của Cato này rồi. Và cái thứ ba nữa là thấy là gì, linh hoạt trong cái việc là chi phí, thay vì các anh chị phải tốn rất là nhiều chi phí trong việc là vận hành duy trì, thì đối với Cato cho phép anh chị có thể là linh hoạt trong việc chi phí, thì nó sẽ tính theo từng B, với ví dụ nhu cầu của doanh nghiệp của mình là bao nhiêu B thì anh chị có thể là mua bấy nhiêu B để sử dụng, và có thể là rất là linh hoạt, dễ dàng. Yeah.
Ok, rồi, rất là cảm ơn cái câu trả lời của Thống. Thì ở đây trên cái phần mà chat on thì chắc là các anh chị, các bạn cũng có thấy là anh Tân có post một cái link, đó là để mà một cái link, một những khóa học về Cato để mà mọi người có thể gọi là tìm hiểu và để học thi miễn phí để lấy được những cái chứng chỉ level 1 và level 2 của Cato. Trong cái trường hợp mà mình có quan tâm tới giải pháp này, mình muốn hiểu sâu hơn về giải pháp, và cũng giống như là tất cả những giải pháp khác mà Westcon đang phân phối, thì Westcon cũng luôn sẵn sàng để mà hỗ trợ mọi người trong cái quá trình demo, trong cái quá trình POC. Nếu như mà mọi người có cái nhu cầu thì có thể liên hệ với Westcon để được hỗ trợ.
Trường hợp anh chị nào không thể scan QR code ở trên màn hình được á, ban tổ chức có gửi cái đường link Google Form ở trong khung chat, anh chị có thể theo đường link đó để làm khảo sát.
Yeah, Colin, we have another question from our customer that because we have many vendors have SASE at this time. So yeah, can you have to quick summarize what is our differentiator when comparing with the other competitor in the market?
Okay, good question. I think we frequently encounter these questions. I mean, because we are new in the market, right? A lot of customers maybe not familiar with our solution, and SASE is also a quite new architecture, a new solution released by Gartner in 2019, right? So for me, I mean, let's take a look at the SASE market right now. Right. So basically, there are two different kind of SASE vendor. They claim to be SASE vendor. One is the traditional security vendors, like for example, Checkpoint, Palo Alto, FortiGate. They have security solutions. They move to SD-WAN, and now they can sell these things together, and they claim they have SASE. Right. Another kind of vendor is like this cloud security vendor, like Zscaler or these traditional value clock, or these kind of SD-WAN vendors, they add some security features, right? So they claim, I mean, they combine their only SD-WAN, they say they have SASE. But if you look at the real fact, right, for all these vendors actually, right, is still using the traditional architecture, right? They may, for example, add some features, but architecture-wise, it's still the same. It's still the traditional way, right? So if you look at our architecture, it's totally different. It's a cloud-native architecture, right? So we build for the cloud, and also all the network and the security is built from ground up. It's not like something, for example, you have something at the beginning, right, like SD-WAN or security, and later you add on some other features. This will create a problem because, for example, the integration problem, right? And also, for example, sometimes, I mean, you are using other solution, for example, like a VeloCloud, and no, you are using mainline solutions. They may need to integrate with mainline, and all the procedure, all the progress depends on mainline. It's not their control, right? So all this, I mean, you can see, I mean, it's not built from ground up. It's existing architecture, totally different from us, right? We have this, I mean, the architecture converge network and security and optimization and the report and the event discovery, everything in one single solution proven to the customer, right? So of course, I mean, this is just a high level comparison for different vendors. If you come to specific vendors, I mean, we can talk a bit more on that, right? For example, like if you talk about security vendors or SD-WAN vendors, we can discuss more from there, right? But from high level, the key difference is architecture. Architecture makes the difference, right?
Okay. Thanks for your answer. And I think the last question is, yeah, how can, because now at this time our customer have many systems, and yeah, they ask if we open the API to connect from the other system, and
yeah, we have the API. I mean, you can connect, you can using the API to configure, to do the control. For example, like just now I mentioned, you can export our log to other system. You can also using our API to control, for example, to configure certain, to get certain report, and maybe do some configurations. You can do this. You can do this.
Yeah. So in that case, our customer will connect to the cloud Cato from their API. Yeah,
yes,
they can connect
correct.
API to the cloud Cato.
Correct.
Do the integration, to do configuration, and yeah.
Yes, they can do this. Yeah, I mean, we can provide the API. We have a portal for the API. We can also give you some samples, how to do the configurations, how to get the report. Maybe you can generate some weekly report, a monthly report. Yes, we can do this. No problem.
Okay. So thanks for your answer.
No problem.
Thank you, Colin. Cảm ơn Minh Phan. Như đã trao đổi từ đầu, ban tổ chức sẽ gửi đến những anh chị có những câu hỏi thú vị nhất trong phần Q&A, và các anh chị đó sẽ nhận được email từ ban tổ chức để nhận được cái số bill gửi quà. Cảm ơn anh chị đã tham gia hội thảo trực tuyến ngày hôm nay, và rất mong